The reason I love money management is that very often we're all functioning out of one or two bank accounts. Number one, that's overwhelming. Number two, it does not lead to clarity. And what's so exciting, and you guys, if I say exciting 65 times, it's because I'm literally very excited about everything. And that's very much my astrology too. Yes. I'm an Aries, Sag moon. I get really activated and I'm extremely optimistic. And I don't believe that my optimism is unfounded. I think you need optimism to make big changes, not only in yourself, but also to assist others. So what I'll say about money management that is just magnificent is when you're functioning out of multiple accounts, you create clarity. You give your money a job. I won't go into that right now, but one of the accounts, it needs to be for you. It needs to be for your future. It needs to be for your groundedness. You might put $1 a week into that. You might put 25% of your take-home pay into that. But the reason why you want to have that money that just stays with you is because then that's the basis of your investing. And when I first learned about money management, that was the first thing that I learned when I was young. Actually, it's very interesting. My grandparents were very into making sure, my parents too, but my grandparents on a whole other level. My grandma was very into Susie Orman. My grandpa used to make me watch like finance videos. He'd be like, well, if you want to go to the mall, because he liked to take me to the mall. God bless him, loved it. And he'd be like, if you want to go to the mall, you have to watch this finance video. And I remember sitting there, I'm like 12 years old with like my brow hilarious. Furled. And I was just like, but I never forgot it. And wow. Looking back at it, they knew what they were doing. They were, even if I wasn't into it then, they were planting the seeds for me to have a clear and more respectful relationship with money. It took me very long to get there. I mean, I was 31 when I started taking care of my finances. I'm about to be 35 in a couple months. So it took me a minute. But the reason I mention money management and having this account for yourself is because if you bring in, let's say, your take home pay from your business or your job or whatever, and everything just goes straight to bills, which for many of us, that's how it can go. But what I challenge you to do is to take just a little bit and make sure it's for you. Because what you can do as you learn the tools of investing is you can literally, through a very magnificent little tool that we have the privilege of experiencing, it's called compound interest. And the truth is that is how wealth is created. And the very cool thing as well is that as you get to know investing, as you get to know, and I'm still learning, so I cannot speak much to it, but as you get to know it, as you get to know the tool and you educate yourself, there's so many free resources. Like Investing with Rose is where I've learned most of my stuff. What's so awesome is that you can then make your money work for you, because when we're in the constant like time for pay, of course that's beautiful on a lot of levels. It's great. It's a privilege. And I also am so passionate about how can we make money work for us, because the truth is the more money that we have access to, the better we can do in the world. Now, this doesn't mean that you're making money and it all has to go to all of these different things, because as we know, there's plenty of things that we'd probably like to fund and assist. You stabilize yourself first, and through money management, and perhaps even through the tool of investing, if that's something you choose to do, you can create stabilization in your life. And if we take it to like an energetic level, when your root chakra, when your lower chakra, when you feel stabilized and connected and taken care of in your life, it is so natural to be in overflow. It is natural to want to give to others. It's natural to want to take care of people. When I was broke and could barely pay my rent and was always worrying about eating, how was I ever looking out beyond myself? And so although that wasn't my initial desire to create financial empowerment, it's not like it was altruistic, but it's become that way because I believe so strongly, like you can only get so much stuff before it just only feels like the natural, organic next best thing to do, but to assist other people. And something I've noticed about extremely wealthy individuals, they almost all teach financial literacy. And I feel like I went in 16 different directions with your question, but yeah, it's important just to speak to all of this. I feel like it all goes together.
With the energetics of money, like what was your journey with that? Was it first like I'm going to do the tools and the processes and the strategies and then you noticed the energetics, or did you do the energetics first? Like what was that relationship? Because they seem separate, although I know they're the same.
Oh my God, I love this question, babe, so much because, well, first things first, you know, I started my first business at 19 and it didn't take me very long to really recognize that I had a lot of money hangups. And when I got into my 20s, overcame drug addiction around like 23, 24, healed myself with that whole situation, mostly because I really started to meditate and I'm not suggesting this for everyone, but for me, what I was looking for through addictive tendencies was actually a relationship to spirit, relationship to God. And when I started to find that through relationship to myself, relationship to my own energy, I got very, very into spirituality. I started doing yoga teacher trainings. I feel like my friends would be like outraging and I'm like, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. to do sadhana. Bye, guys. Like I went kind of from one extreme to another, but through going through this fascinating kind of journey of exploring spirituality, I started to learn about this concept called prosperity. And I was like, that word, I like that word. I didn't know necessarily initially what it meant or what it meant to me, but looking back, that is the energetics of being in our, let's say, our dharmic path, or being in our why as an incarnation or as a human being. And then let's say like making our money that way, just because in this system specifically, we're very focused on that. For me, as I went through my 20s, I was like, how can I make money in a way that feels right to my soul and also be in my, like, let's just say like my energetic integrity, because I was never taught that. I was never taught that you fuse, exactly your question, babe. Like I was never taught that like money had any relationship to energy or money had any relationship to the soul on any level. But the way that I like to teach it at this point is that if the universe expresses itself through all things, why is money exempt from that? And why do we kind of make that separation? So for me, initially, it was about healing my relationship to money as an energy. And then that took a long time. My 20s were, if you want to hear about my 20s, just listen to our first episode together. I think I talked more about it there. But moving into like 30, 31, that was really when I was like, oh my God, now it's time for the tools. Like the energetics are there. I understand the emotional relationship that I have to money. Now it's time. What do I actually do to create financial empowerment in my life? How do I actually create a wealth transformation? And to me, it really roots from first understanding that you are having an energetic, emotional relationship to everything in your life. And money is no different. And so I personally feel from my experience that when I first came to understand that and healed that and explored that, that was really what set the groundwork for learning money management.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.